Good morning, boys and girls. I hope you all have had a wonderful week. I miss seeing all of your wonderful faces. The last couple of weeks, the kids have been able to have a couple of Zoom calls together, and if you haven't been able to join in and aren't on the email list or the Facebook group, please let me know so I can add you because we would love for you to join us. We've had a great time going on scavenger hunts, playing charades, praying, and learning together. Parents, look for details about our next Zoom call. For the last few weeks, we've been looking at the stories of Jesus appearing to the disciples after the resurrection. For 40 days, Jesus appeared to the disciples. He walked with them. He continued to teach them. He even made breakfast for them. But this morning, I want to take a look at the last words that Jesus spoke to his disciples. So, first, let's turn to Matthew 28, and we're going to read verses 18 through 20. Then Jesus came to them and said, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And surely I am with you always, to the very end of the age." In those words, Jesus was reminding the disciples of who he was, but he was also telling them to go out into the world and to tell other people. Sometimes we read that phrase, go and make disciples, and we focus on the going. But what Jesus is really saying is wherever you go. We don't have to go to a different state or a different country or even down the road. Jesus told his disciples to tell their people wherever they went. Now, I know right now we aren't really going anywhere, but there are still ways that we can tell other people about Jesus. And I want to talk about that in a minute. But first, let's look at Acts chapter 1. I'm going to read verses 4 through 5, and then I'm going to skip down and read verse 8. On one occasion, while he, Jesus, was eating with them, he gave them this command: "Do not leave Jerusalem, but wait for the gift my Father promised, which you have heard me speak about. For John baptized with water, but in a few days you will be baptized with the Holy Spirit. You will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes on you, and you will be my witnesses in Jerusalem and in all Judea and Samaria and to the ends of the earth." Jesus told the disciples to stay in Jerusalem and to wait for the Holy Spirit. But then he said, when you receive the Holy Spirit, be my witnesses in Jerusalem and Judea and Samaria and to the ends of the earth. A witness is someone who has seen something and can tell other people. You see, for 3 years, the disciples had walked with Jesus. They'd heard the teachings, seen the miracles. They had seen the death and resurrection of Jesus. They were witnesses of the good news that Jesus is alive. Jesus told him to be his witnesses in Jerusalem. You see, Jerusalem was their home. It was where they spent a lot of their time, and it was in a region known as Judea. Think of Judea and Samaria like states or counties. They both had lots of towns and cities inside. Judea was where Jerusalem was, and Samaria was right next to it. And Jesus had spent a lot of his ministry in Judea and Samaria. And then he tells the disciples to go to the ends of the earth. 11 disciples can do a lot, but they can't tell everyone. They can't go everywhere. Think of it like the dominoes we saw a little bit ago. Jesus told the disciples to go and be his witnesses. And just like dominoes, the 11 disciples told people, who then told people, who then told people. It was a domino effect. Boys and girls, I know that most of you are stuck at home. You aren't going to school. We aren't coming to church. You can't eat at a restaurant. But you can still tell other people about Jesus. And you can share the good news. And maybe you're thinking, okay, Miss Elizabeth, I'm stuck at home. How can I do that? Well, I have a couple of ideas. My first idea is, how many of you love chalk? You could use chalk and you could decorate your driveway or the sidewalk near your house. You could draw a picture of the cross, or you could write out your favorite Bible story. Be creative, but you can use chalk and art to tell other people about Jesus. Another way to be creative and tell people about Jesus, even at home, is to make a video. You and your family could make a video together that's a testimony that tells other people about who Jesus is and what Jesus has done for you. And then you could share it with a friend or a neighbor or another family member. Another thing you could do is just simply to call someone on the phone. Maybe to call someone you know needs some prayer and just to call and pray with someone. Or maybe calling and telling someone what Jesus has done in your life. Maybe you've made a decision to follow Jesus and you've been too scared to tell someone, and now's your chance to do it. Boys and girls, just because we aren't together doesn't mean we can't tell people about Jesus. You don't have to go anywhere to share the good news. You can do it from your house. So this week, that's my challenge for you. I am challenging you to tell someone about Jesus. I've given you 3 ideas, but there are so many others. So as a family, sit down and figure out what works for you. I would love to see and hear about what you guys are doing. And it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter if you're a preschooler or if you're a grandparent sitting with kids or just sitting at home watching this video. We can all be news sharers. We can all share the good news with other people. We can give hope to others. I love you guys and I hope to see you soon. Bye.